So when we are talking to atheists, especially nowadays, it always seems that they want you to provide kind of positive evidence for your side, and critiquing the other side is just, it's just dodging the question. So especially with the claim that atheism is this lack of belief, they don't bring anything to the table, they want you to bring all of it. Does tactics provide us the best approach to talk to people like this?
Well, strictly speaking, tactics are formal categories for maneuvering, okay, and for spotting flaws. So you have the game plan, which is where you use questions to either gather information or to reverse the burden of proof when appropriate, or to use questions to make your own point. There's no substance there. It's a formal category. It's the way that you do things, okay? And then in the book, I give illustrations of particulars, all right? So if you don't know anything, you use the first two steps because you're getting into the shallow end of the pool and you're getting an education. If you know what's wrong with, say, atheism, when you're talking to an atheist, now you can start using questions to make a point. But of course, you have to know what's wrong with atheism from other sources. You can learn a few things from the illustrations I have in the book. And as you know, there are lots and lots of illustrations of real life circumstances that I've been in. But the best thing is you kind of get your content from other sources, and then you use the game plan motif and the other tactics to maneuver in the conversation. So, for example, one difficulty with atheism is that there's no grounding for morality. If materialism is true, and almost every single atheist is a materialist. In other words, it's just particles all the way down. In the cosmos is all there is, ever was, or ever will be. Carl Sagan's famous comment. And so, if that's the case, well, moral obligations aren't physical. They don't extend in space. They don't have chemical content. They don't respond to the laws of physics. So if materialism is true, then morality can't be. Right. Now, I know their move is just to go to evolution, but evolution can't create morality. All it does, in principle, all it can do is create beliefs about morality that turn out to be false, right, but aid the survival. Okay. So then, on that view, rape is not wrong. Nor is genocide, by the way. In fact, genocide, argue, might serve the purposes of evolution, okay? And frankly, Darwin was exceptionally racist as an individual, according to today's standards, based on his understanding of evolution. And this is pretty obvious in the longer subtitle of The Origin of Species, which is so long I can't remember it, but it talks about the inferior races, right? So this creates a problem then for an atheist, because an atheist like, say, Richard Dawkins, when he talks about materialism, this is a world in which there's no good or there's no evil, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference, a famous citation of his. But then in the God delusion, he starts talking about the God of the Bible as being a homophobic and genocidal and all these moral judgments. And so here's my question. Now I know that's inconsistent, okay, because we talked about entailment earlier, and if you believe in materialism, what's entailed in that is no morality, no objective morality. All right? That's part of the package. Okay? So then my question becomes, where's the standard that you're getting to judge God by? What is the standard you're using to judge God by? Now, I actually had a conversation on the air with an atheist who is a Bogosian disciple, and because his view was evolution. So what you're saying is, when you say something is wrong, you're saying it disagrees with your evolution. And he said, yes. Well, at least he was honest. Yeah. But you can see how vacuous that response is. So what? Okay, it disagrees with your evolution. Doesn't disagree with mine. Doesn't disagree with Hitler's or ISIS or Donald Trump's, for goodness sake. So where's your basis for complaint? Mm-hmm. That is a very fair criticism of materialistic atheism. So notice how I have some content understanding of the problem that I might have gotten somewhere else, but I use the tactical game plan to employ that. Mm-hmm. So the two kind of have to go together. One is more formal. Some views are self-defeating. Okay, well, that's kind of a formal category. Oh, what about postmodernism? Yes, postmodernism is a view that there is no grand narrative, of truth over everything. And that is the grand narrative of truth over everything. Right, yeah. Oh, that's suicide, right? So that's kind of how that works out.
That's great. I did enjoy your book, and I made sure to point it out because I also was speaking to me, but calling people to a higher standard. Things like you can't just go in with what you know right now. Continue to learn, continue to understand Scripture. Right. If either side gets angry, you lose, and so it was always a nice it was always a nice reminder about kind of the mindset that a Christian should have to kind of take it slow and understand that you're talking to someone who is made in the image of God. And within the types of these discussions, I mean, you have examples of all sorts of famous people that you're having over the conversation with on the radio and part of your job. But most of the time, it's going to be our friends, our family. It's going to be people that we have a close bond with that we don't want to put our thumb in their eye and tell them, good, now you're
sure,
blind.
That's right. Thump them on the chest or something like that. Yeah, you don't want to bruise the fruit. And probably, the problem is with guys like us, is we love doing that kind of thing. We love poking people in the eye and thumping them on the chest and telling them they're wrong,
Because we know better.
Right? So anyway, so that is a liability, and this is where we have to remind ourselves. And this is true for me too. I'm just saying, I'm just like you guys and everybody else viewing. I got to get down, feet on the ground, in the dust, trying to not get angry and not get the other person angry if I can avoid it. But so I have to attend to those things, and it's why Peter says in 1 Peter chapter 3 in the famous passage about defending the faith, that we should do it with gentleness and reverence. Oh, how'd that get in there?
You recently did an interview with Eli Allah. And he has an amazing ministry because so many people love him because of his just demeanor and how he emphasizes that among everyone. People who are presuppositionalists, people who aren't, people who are atheists, people who hate him. I'm always, if I ever interview him, I want to ask him if he's ever had a bad day because his disposition is always so cheerful.
I guarantee you he probably has, if not, he's unique because all of us, I'll tell you the kind of person that really sets me off, and this happens with my kids too. Is somebody who interrupts a lot. Now that's a steamroller, and we do have a defensive technique for that. That's very effective, and it works. But you have to have some steel in order to employ it because steamrollers are tough. But when somebody's interrupted, bang, 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 that's when the temperature rises, and then I really have to, count it down, brother, and employ the tactic and get back in control. But that's when I get testy.
And
really
understand people can have the last word, and you don't need the last word either.
That's right. Sometimes if you're backing out of a conversation, I actually got this from Dennis Prager. Some of your viewers may know him. He's a Jewish guy, not a Christian, very religious Jew, but
Prager, right? He's on there as PragerU, I think he has a.
Yes, that's right. And PragerU gets 1 billion views a year. That guy, he moves the meter. Yeah. But in his radio demeanor, and he's my radio mentor. I actually knew Dennis before I even started radio, and so I follow him in the demeanor because he's such a gracious individual, and he is willing to give someone the last word. Now, this might seem counterintuitive to people. Wow, let them have the last word. Well, that's the last word that's ringing in people's minds. It's going to be so persuasive. Oh, wait a minute. It's only going to be persuasive if it's persuasive. And a lot of times it's not. Right. If you've said something substantive to get people to think contrary, then that's going to stick too. But when you say, I'll let you have the last word, what this does is not just show that you're generous and gracious. It also shows that you're confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a powerful apologetic in its own. So I mentioned that I didn't become a Christian based on Christian evidences, but it was my younger brother Mark who was the main gardener in my life to bring me to a point of harvest with Christ. And Mark was very confident. That was one of the biggest that he really cared about me, and he was really confident of the truth, and he just wasn't going to let go. He was like a rag dog, man, hanging on to me.